Hey, everybody. Welcome to Wings on Katella, episode 33, special edition of Wings on Katella. This is going to be our Angels season preview episode. You can find us anywhere that you find podcasts. You're probably watching on YouTube, but you can find us on Spotify and Apple Music and all that stuff. You guys are all Apple, right?
Yep.
You guys are
No,
all
I'm
Apple.
Spotify.
I'm a Spotify guy, man.
Apple.
Spotify.
You know Spotify is Swedish?
Is it?
It
Oh,
is.
really?
It's direct from Sweden. So
I will say I am kind of hating Spotify these days because they're
Well,
relying too much on AI.
Spotify probably isn't a big fan of you either, Thomas.
That's
So,
it, yeah.
we do
What's
not
the like?
have we do not have Zach Cavanagh with us. Zach is currently in Western Canada, which is the reason why we're not going to do any Duck stuff. You can find his stuff on the Sporting Tribune podcast network. Ducks in Deep, check it out. But for Wings on Katella, if you're unfamiliar with us, we cover Orange County sports, the Ducks, the Angels, among other sorts. Jared Grinlinger down at Huntington Beach High School, and Blake Bowen at J. Sarah, because Haslett is here. Jack Haslett, good to see you, man. Welcome to Wings on Katella, this special edition. As you guys are watching this is your Angels coverage from TheSportingTribune.com for 2026. Thomas Murray will wave at the camera, producer of Wings on Katella, and also our Angel staffer, Jack Janes. Depending on who steals him away from us, who steals his heart. It's like the Bachelorette, except for he doesn't beat people up. And Jack Haslett is also with us. Jack Haslett could also be doing Angels coverage for us. And I am Taylorblakeward. So for that, guys, Angels season preview. We had a script, and I don't know where to start. You can find our written form of this at TheSportingTribune.com, but in word form, who wants to take it? What are you expecting out of the Angels here in 2026? And for this, let's go to Thomas Murray for that. Thomas, what are you kind of expecting out of the Angels this year?
Yeah, I mean, after last year where we pretty much till June, whenever Wash left, I thought they were taking a step forward. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think this year, just kind of how the roster is built, constructed, this is a group that actually might take a step back. And I don't know if I'm early on this, but I think it's going to be a fifth place in the American League West kind of year. I know we're supposed to give our roster or division winner predictions and all that, but I definitely do not have the Angels as winning the West.
I think if you polled all four of us, I think we all agree with that, right? I mean, head nods, right? This is not going to be a great year when it comes to Angels. And I think my question would be, what are you looking forward to? And my response is going to be significantly different from your guys' response. But Thomas, why is it that you kind of feel like this team is kind of in not an uphill trajectory at the moment?
Sure.
I don't want to call it down. Do you think it's a downhill trajectory, or do you think it's flatline trajectory?
How much more downhill can they get?
They lost 99
Can I go
games
like
2 years ago.
10% grade downhill?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, something like that. A little bit downhill, not 100% grade downhill, but you're not going up to the high desert. That's what I'll say right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this team's main problem is it lacks depth across the lineup, and its biggest flaw is the bullpen. And you're going to have to rely on a few guys to stay healthy and some guys to try to revive their careers, which has been kind of the story of the Angels since 2016 or so. It's been like that for 10 years now, where you're like, hey, maybe he can turn it around. And reality is a lot of the time they don't.
I feel like I said it up until last year. Is on paper, the Angels looked like they were okay up until about 2 years ago. And then this year, I do not feel like on paper, I feel like they're not okay. And when I say not okay, I mean like last in the division. I'm not going to say worse in the American League, but near the bottom. And you mentioned something about the relief. I don't know how much I agree with you on that or disagree, because I think Perry's done a good job of building the pitching depth, but I think it's strictly relief depth. I don't think they have the starting pitching to get through. We put in the article is they lost 38 games in August to September in 23-24. They lost 34 games last year in August, September. you got to get the starting pitching into August and September, and I don't think they have that. But I do think they have arms. The one thing they don't have is a solidified closer. And Jack Haslett, you brought up in the piece, you had the bullpen as your kind of structure. When you look at this bullpen, what are you thinking in terms of depth? And obviously, when Kirby Yates is anticipated to be the closer, but he starts the season on the IL, where do you get who gets the ninth inning at that point?
I mean, it seems like at this point, even like Kurt Suzuki doesn't really know. When I talked to him ahead of the first game of the Freeway Series, he said he was still trying to find places for everyone. He hadn't had anything settled in. I mean, the thing, it's half the bullpen is, it's Chase Silseth and Sid Bachman. It's starters who couldn't really cut it. So in terms of, long relief, that's kind of the more optimistic outlook. But I mean, it seems like at least for the first month of the season, who's going to be in the ninth inning, who's even going to be in the eighth inning, really is just up to them feeling it out. Which how many games you lose or how many blown saves there are before you get there, you know, is a more uncomfortable conversation. I mean, yeah, it's ha not having Kirby Yates coming in, to start the season obviously hurts them. I mean, I was like Lucchesi was the offseason pickup. That's that's nice. That's still not someone who's a closer situation. That's someone who can be solid, maybe seven, eight in, or
Clean
seventh
up,
inning, eighth
yeah,
inning. But
scraps.
yeah, so it really just it's so many guys. I mean, Kurt brought this up that he has guys who have all been closers in for different teams years past, but no one who's been a lockout kind of guy, like the guy who Kenley Jansen was, who I think, like in terms of the free agent that needed to retain the most, like it had to have been Kenley Jansen, and then that didn't happen. So it really just leaves the bullpen in this kind of swirling mess where it really does seem like you have to lose games along the way before you figure out who's the best at not doing that.
Yeah, I mean, you have ex closers, Jordan Romano, right?
Yeah,
You'd say Robert Stevenson, but you don't know if he's going to throw a pitch this year.
yeah.
I mean, like even the guy that's anticipated to be the closer of the future, Ben Joyce, Tony Vitello kicks off games here in a couple hours here, and Tony Vitello never gave Ben Joyce the ninth inning at Tennessee. He's never closed games. First time he ever closed games was at Rocket City. I don't know. Janes, I have to separate Haslett and Janes here because they're both Jacks. But Janes, a lot of people don't believe in ninth inning mentality, closer mentality, right? The analytics don't show expression of human emotion. I don't think that Ben Joyce has a lack of emotion, but takes nails, right? It takes a lot to close that to have that ninth inning as your role. Is there a guy in this bullpen that you see as a ninth inning guy? For me, I have a name locked in right here, and I don't want to give it away yet. Hazard already mentioned it, but James, like when it comes to the ninth inning, is there a guy that you think has the ninth inning that might even be successful in it?
I mean, when we talked to Kurt Suzuki on Sunday, he said, I've been on plenty of teams that didn't have a closer, and they just rotated in between guys, and it was whoever had the better matchups or whatever that night. So I'm fully comfortable doing that if I need to, but obviously those are few and far between, and not typically a recipe for success. I mean, to be honest, I have no idea who you would throw as a ninth inning guy. Nobody really stands out to me just based off of recent results. I mean, Drew Pomerantz had a great year last year, but he doesn't. When I think of Drew Pomerantz, I don't think of closer. So it could be
He could be a
him.
set. He could set up.
Yeah. Jordan Romano's the other one with the most recent closing experience, and obviously the last few years have not gone his way. I think right now they would try. I'm just looking at the bullpen. I don't even know.
No,
Romano is my
Yeah.
guess.
I Walbert Urania has never pitched in relief essentially. So I'm throwing him out. I feel like that's a name that's got the power stuff. Everyone here I think has power stuff, but the guy that stands out above the rest here for me is Sam Bachman. And I know that you can get length out of him, but giving him a one inning stint and I've seen him in one inning stints. And when he first came up to the big leagues, they handed him the setup role. They gave him the seventh, eighth inning high leverage spots. I know it's a first rounder. I know you want the future to be starter with him. He's not. He's not a starter. He can't stay healthy. utilize what you got. Use the bullets. I think he's got nails. I think Sam Blockman actually is going to be like the surprise of this bullpen and maybe be the best arm in the bullpen all year long while taking over that ninth inning. And I hope that he's utilized in that position. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
What else are
Yeah,
they gonna do?
I
Yeah.
kind of am on a similar feeling as you, Taylor. I've always kind of, looking at the Angels in the past, have envisioned Bachman as more of a setup man. Even when they drafted him in the first
Yeah.
round, it's kind of obvious, that he's not really a starting pitcher, but he's a good pitcher. He's a good relief piece, and if he can stay healthy, that's not bad to have, especially what you're predicted to be in 2026 is Bachman potentially a setup man, and Joyce is your closer. Like, that could have been pretty nasty. Could have been a good 1-2 punch. Sam Bachman's probably one of the few guys in the bullpen that excites me. Another one who's a little bit always been I've always felt he's been underappreciated, is Brent Suter. Just because he's had success before, but he's mid game reliever kind of pitcher. He's not the kind of guy that can be your closer, but I'd like to point that he's had like a 3.38 ERA in Colorado, where it's really tough to pitch at. So
I like Brent. I think the thing with Brent, and you need guys like Brent, and I feel like he's the
yeah,
wrong guy because he actually could be the best reliever of this whole team, right? You mentioned it. He's performed steadily everywhere he's gone. You need innings though. You need to get through innings. I mean,
yeah,
if Reed can't go 4 or 5, and if Jose has a bad day, Jose's sometimes going to go 7, sometimes he's going to go 4. Brent's that guy that can give you 2, 3 innings out of the bullpen, and that's the way that you kind of have to use him in a sense. Because I mean, maybe Silseth can give you a couple innings here or there, kind of thing, but like Ryan Johnson coming in to start the year, is Ryan's shown that he can give you 7, but is he going to give you 7 consistently? Probably not. So I agree with you. I think Brent could be the best reliever in this bullpen. I don't know. It's a rotating door for me with the bullpen. I think you've got weapons consistently throughout the farm system. I think that's the one place I actually feel like they have depth is the bullpen. But you got to get to the bullpen. I think they have zero starting pitching depth. And I'm very curious to see. Thomas, you wrote the rotation, correct? You wrote the rotation.
yeah.
And in it, you mentioned options like Caden Dana and George Clausen and Tyler Bremner, right? I mean, don't want to say this too loudly. Developmentally, I really like where the Angels are going this year because of where Tyler Bremner is
Sure.
going to start the season. Now, that is
Sure.
off record stuff, but the fact that Tyler Bremner is not starting the season in Salt Lake really excites me. Really excites me. So I don't know. We've said it for a long time is that Tyler Bremner probably sees the big leagues this year with the Angels because of the Angels process. As of not that long ago, feel like that might not be an option, which really excites me. Maybe they finally handle their first round pick with big boy, with the right hands, develop this guy. But you mentioned it, Caden Dana, George Clausen, right? I think if you're getting into the George Clausen starting thing this year, again, we're not expecting the Angels to be a threat, but I think that's just another mark of like, hey, you missed the cue over the winter. And something I put
Yeah.
over, something I put in the preview with the winter, their biggest splash of the year was Kirby Yates at 5 million. 1 year, 5 million. Their fourth biggest financial commitment this year, there was 2 that were tied for fourth. It was the buyout of Evan White at 2 million, which I don't even think you guys knew that Evan White was still around, and the signing bonus for Jason Horton, their top international player. That was their fourth biggest international commitment, was those 2 things. They didn't spend money where they needed to spend money, and throw it on ownership, throw it on executives, whatever you need to do, right? Whatever it is. But this rotation, this starting pitching, it's not good. So Jack Janes, I see you kind of nodding and things. So it seems like you're ready to say something.
Yeah, I mean, it's just. I mean, this is broader strokes in terms of the whole roster, which I'm sure we're going to get into more detail as we get on. But this team really doesn't look that much different than last year. And you can make the argument that they're worse just because you don't have 36 home runs and 100 and however many RBIs from Taylor Ward accounted for this year, and you didn't replace him with anybody, and you lose your closer. Now you don't know who the closer is, and it's going to be a revolving door at closer most likely, unless someone steps up and fills in. But
Right.
I'm not going to be expecting that from anybody. And then the rotation, sure, Grayson Rodriguez can be good, but can he stay healthy? That's always been the biggest question.
How many start?
I don't
Are
know if
you
you,
the one of us said it is, you're not getting Grayson for 33 starts, no
yeah,
matter what. I don't remember who said it, but someone said it, and they're like, you're not getting Grayson for 33. You might get him
I feel
for
like that was Jack.
20.
yeah. So, like I love Ryan Johnson. I think he's going to be a great pitcher one day. He shouldn't be on the major league roster right now. He should still be developing the minor leagues. And I'm not saying that because I think Ryan's going to struggle. It's just what it is. He's 1 year out, or what, 2 years post draft. He was drafted in
Coming up on
24.
two. Coming up on two. Yeah.
So he's still 23. He has time to develop in the minors. He shouldn't be on the major league roster. Jack Ohanowitz, he had a good spring.
Yeah.
Obviously, a lot of struggles last year, so it remains to be seen. I don't hate the idea of him being on the major league roster, but realistically, he could be down in the minors and maybe working on some things. But it's just the back half of that rotation, and especially there's so many what ifs with this rotation.
Well,
Detmer's coming back into the rotation. You don't know how he's going to be. You can't count on Grayson Rodriguez to stay healthy for a full season. You don't know what you got in Jack Ohanowitz right now. And then Ryan Johnson, I'm not sure what you're going to get from him either. And the bullpen, obviously, we just talked about, isn't that stellar.
Jose Soriano is going to have a few games where he blows up, but he's also going to have a few games where he goes 7-8 innings.
Yeah.
He's going to be consistent. You say
And the same thing with
Kikuchi.
Kikuchi.
I would say Kikuchi, you're consistent. Thomas, can I get 10 minutes? I'm going to remember this point. Steer right. Apologies on the skip there. That is on my end. So thank you for bearing with me, listeners, and also team and panel and cast and dudes and guys. We're talking about this rotation. The thing that I am a little worried on is not that you need Tyler Anderson, because you need it, but you need 150 to 180 innings, and you need to get through those innings. No matter what, it doesn't matter if you're a 90-win team or a 70-win team. You have to get those innings, and I just don't know. You mentioned it. Reed is a question mark. Jose is not a question mark. Yusei is not a question mark. They're going to give you those out. They're going to give you the innings and things, but. It's not about what's the impact of it. It's how do you just get through it? Where do you get it? And how do you do it without getting it? Is Brent Suter going to throw 100 innings in relief this year? Which he could. He could, but that's not what you want. You don't want Pomeranz going 100 innings in relief. You don't want those guys. So finding that is going to be a big part for me. And hopefully it is someone like Caden Dana, Sam Aldegari, we mentioned him. But we've already seen it. Alek Manoah. Not starting the season in the rotation, whether by talent or injury, whichever one it is, right? Grayson Rodriguez not starting it because of injury. Where are they going to find these innings? So, open question.
And also with Kikuchi is a good pitcher, and I think is going to be solid, but he also runs high pitch counts because he walks a lot of guys and he has a lot of deep counts. I mean, didn't he? This is off the top of my head, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe he was in top 10 or top 5 worst whips in baseball.
I'll work on that one. Give me a second on that one.
I'll riff for a little bit while you find that. I just remember constantly he always had deep counts, a lot of walks, especially in the first half of the season. Him, Jack Ohanowitz, they had walk issues, and I think Kikuchi's going to post 30 starts a year, but how many innings is he going to go? Because if he runs those deep pitch counts, he's going to be taken out in 5th inning probably.
Yeah, and to go on your item there, of the 52 qualified pitchers last year, qualified wise, it was Yusei Kikuchi was the 4th worst, Jose Soriano was the 6th worst. Yeah, and you're talking about the difference between 1.4 and 1.44 is the worst. So they're in the same exact range. Now that's qualified, but at the same time, you need qualified pitchers. You need guys that throw enough innings to be qualified.
Yeah, and like I said, I fully believe Kikuchi can make 30 starts a year and stay healthy. It's just I don't think he's going to go that far or that deep into games as often as you think.
No, no, I thoroughly agree. And that's the problem is, well, how many times? I mean, we could pull it up again, but like, how many times did you say pitch into the sixth last year?
Give me like 2 seconds.
I know, but as you do that, like Kahanowitz is the guy that's like it. That's the thing I would say. Jack Kahanowitz might be like the unsung guy, and understandably, he was statistically the worst pitcher in baseball last year. If not, he was a bottom five pitcher last year among guys that threw X amount of innings. But Jack knows how to get through 6, 7 innings. He's probably going to give you 150 innings if he gets that opportunity and performs to at least a moderate degree. Jack James, you pull up. How many times did you say out of like how many starts?
21 out of 33, he went
That's
past the fifth.
that's not bad. What about past the sixth?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, right. That you've got to get that number up.
He
You've
he
got to
did
get that
have a
number.
lot where it was 5 2/3.
He does have a
But
lot of
that-
5 2/3 and
But you
sixes,
got to
but
get through
Where his,
six.
like,
Yeah.
that's where his averages
you
at.
got to at least pitch some batters into the seventh.
You got to go
Definitely.
2/3 of the game, man.
Sure, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we live in a different game. It's a different baseball game and everything, and that's fine. But like, if you're not giving your team 18 outs regularly, it's a problem. It's a substantial problem. So, we haven't heard from you in a minute. When it comes to this rotation, where do we kind of stand, man? Like I said, for me, it's just get through the season. Just get the arms through the season, and then you'll assess next year whether Gary Dana, those guys are ready.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly it. It's a project season. It's not something that where winning games is going to be the main thing to look toward. I'm still very much a Reed Detmers believer. I think he's as a pitcher, I think is the most failed by this organization of anyone in the team. Just in the fact, I mean, the minor league stints coming back up and then being successful again, them then firing the entire Salt Lake pitching staff that fixed Reed Detmers in the first place. I think there's a world where he is already the ace for the Angels, and that hasn't happened yet. So seeing where he goes, seeing where Soriano goes, that's the biggest upside in terms of the active rotation. And then yeah, Aldagiri, I mean, based off of Patrick Sandoval in the last World Baseball Classic, a great World Baseball Classic does not make you a great regular season pitcher. But I would love for Aldagiri to be that. Same thing with Dana. Like the young potential I want to say is there, but it's not going to happen this season. It's this season very much it's a project season for the rotation. I mean, like I said, I'm most interested in to see where Demers can go, and then if he can stay, if he can stay in the big leagues in the first place and not be doing trips back and forth, if he can stay in the rotation and find a consistent groove there again. And then with everyone else, if they can keep developing in Salt Lake, I think that's fine. I don't think you necessarily need to push them this season to get them even not even to get them success, but just to get them reps. I think if they can just spend more time, developing first and foremost, I think that's just a better, if there's any kind of semblance of a long-term strategy for the Angels when it comes to their rotation, I think it's that. I don't think you put too much stake into what the regular season record is going to be for 2026.
Well, and you bring out a good point, and maybe something we've ignored it because this is obviously our 26 preview, right? This is the preview for this year, but you mentioned it. You've got Grayson Rodriguez for another 4 years, right? You got Grayson Rodriguez for 4 years. Hopefully he finds some health. You got Reed for another 2, 3 at this point, 2, 3 years, maybe even 4, No, I think it's 3 more years. You've got Caden Dana, Tyler Bremner, George Clausen, Sam Aldagari, Ryan Johnson, Jack Kahanowitz, Jose Soriano. It's like you have pitching weapons for later down the road, but you got to wait until it's later down the road to utilize those. So that's what I'm going to be paying attention to this year substantially is how they handle development. Do they handle development the way they've treated it the last half decade where it's just bum rush a guy because we have holes in the big leagues and we have this body that can fill it? Or are you treating these guys like actual development kind of thing? Biggest thing that we haven't mentioned when it comes to this whole bullpen rotation, everything, so much sits on the shoulders of Mike Maddox. So much of this year sits on Mike Maddox. And I'm talking like difference between 65 wins and 81 wins. I think sits on Mike Maddox. So, Thomas Murray, thoughts here?
Yeah. This is kind of something we were talking about a little off record, Taylor, when you were handling your phone call. We had our sweet intermission break, but I was saying it's kind of ironic that out of all the years where Barry Manossian's been GM of the Angels, and probably somebody's been creating heavy influence on the moves that he's made. This is kind of the most patient we've ever seen him be with the minor leaguer, with some of the younger guys. Not even just the rotation, or starting pitchers or whatever. Also with some of the infielders as well. Putting Christian Moore in the minors, putting Clausen down, keeping Clausen down there, keeping Aldegary down there, keeping Dana Bremner, who when he was drafted by the Angels last July, we all said, well, he's probably going to be on the opening day roster next year. And surprise, surprise, I actually am surprised that he isn't on the roster. But going to your question with Mike Maddox, yes, I mean, they are going to have to, he's really going to have to be the backbone of the, not even just starting rotation, the bullpen, helping guys figure it out, especially I think with Grayson and kind of transitioning out from a year where he had bone spurs removed and, becoming that guy that he once was in Baltimore, being that frontline ace starter. Last year, Jacob deGrom was comeback player of the year after getting Tommy John surgery in 2023 and missed all of 24 with it, if I'm correct, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of where I'm really interested in to see is one of the projects that is this rotation. Seeing what happens with Grayson and Maddox, and I'm not going to judge Grayson right away if he has a couple bad starts early in the year. I want to see what he does in August and September. If he kind of turns the corner, that's kind of my expectation for him. And then, this whole rotation in general, I wrote about it in the preview. As I said, it could be a strength and it could be a weakness, just really give or take. The only thing that's really concrete is Yusei Kikuchi. Soriano 2 years ago couldn't finish the season due to arm fatigue or fatigue in general. And Manoah, you don't really know what you're getting out of him. He seems like it was expected that he was going to make the opening day roster until he got the blister finger injury, right? So it's kind of what's interesting to me. Reed Detmers, again, is he that guy that he's supposed to be, in Jack's alternate universe where he's the ace, he's a frontline starter of the Angels?
Whoa, real quick. I've said it for years that this team goes as far as Reed Detmers goes. Reed Detmers is the most important pitcher in the Angels organization.
He definitely is. He definitely is, but we need to see him really prove it and take the next step forward. He was awesome out of the bullpen last year. But if he can't prove that he's a starter, then he might have to be like Sam Bachman and be a guy out of the bullpen for the next season and beyond that.
Something I do want to, as we were talking about it with Mike, right, with Maddox, I really like, for as much as I did not like the Angels winner, like when it came to on-field moves, love the coaching staff moves. Absolutely love it.
Awesome.
Well, bringing in Mabry and I'm not talking like Brady obviously is a big one. I think the veteran presence of John Gibbons is notable. I mean, I'm not like the most notable of John Gibbons supporters, but the fact that he's on the bench is good for me. But like you bring in Dylan Florco to help with John Mabry and Brady Anderson. Daryl Scott's going to be around. Like Max Stassi. I think Max Stassi is like such a massive gain for Logan. And I mean, like Travis has been around the block, but like what the coaching staff is going to do, I think you gain a win. Sadly, that win probably puts you from 70 to 71 or 65 to 66, right? But I think the coaching staff alone was a big gain for this organization. Jack James kind of going on that. Just looking at time, like we could spend hours on the pitching. We could spend hours on this, but you wrote up the lineup. Not in the order that they're going to hit, but catchers, infielders, outfielders. Some surprises, some not. You guys mentioned it when I was on the call. You guys mentioned Christian Moore. I thought he'd have a much bigger impact to start the year, but you mentioned it. This young core of hitters, can they carry? Can you outscore your problems? Can you be like the Anaheim Ducks?
They're not there yet. Uh, they don't have as many top five, top 10 picks as the Ducks do, unfortunately. Um, I do think they can take a step forward. Obviously, Zach Neto's proven that he can take a step forward, and uh, I wouldn't be surprised if he stays healthy all year, that Zach Neto cements himself as a top 10 shortstop in baseball. He already had a top 10 weighted runs created plus last year, missed over the first month of the season, coming back from that shoulder injury, almost went 30-30 still. So I think he can take another step in in his development. And just as an aside, just from talking to Ron Washington, you know, he always harped on, you ain't seen it yet with Neto. You ain't seen it yet with him. Um, he was a firm believer that there is a whole nother gear that Zach Neto can kick into. I'm not sure if he's going to get to the lofty expectations that Wash was talking about, but I think he can be a damn good player. Uh, Nolan Shanwell, if you see him take another step in the right direction, that's always going to be a positive. Defensively, he's all right. With the bat, obviously, 6'2", 6'3", 220 pounds, and doesn't hit for power. For a first baseman, it's concerning in today's age of baseball. But you know what? He has I would even say elite. He has elite plate discipline. He's going to draw walks. He's going to get on base. Contact hitter. That is valuable to some degree in today's game. Obviously, he's trying to, get that bat speed up, and get more power. Which, if he does, and if he can become a 20 home run hitter, that's going to be huge for the Angels. I don't see that happening this year. If he can get to, what he hit 12 last year, I think.
It was lower. Yeah, he didn't have a great year last year.
No, if he can get to 15 to 20 home runs this year, it's a step in the right direction. That's going to be huge for the Angels. Logan O'Hoppe, that's probably the biggest wild card because he's supposed to be the catcher of the future and hasn't panned out well for him so far. Had a real tough year last year. And this year it just seems he's a little bit more mentally relaxed. I feel like Logan's problem sometimes is mental. He tries. Just has seen him every day in the locker room. You can tell he's a perfectionist. He is always striving to get better and to be perfect. And when you do that, sometimes you mentally kick yourself down, and it's hard to come back when you're struggling. So
did you see the video? Like the Angels are the ones that posted it, but it was a day like in the life with Logan, and he's talking about how he was when he was with Philadelphia. He's talking about the difference between Philadelphia. He says, "Go get the ball, go get the ball, go get." And Max has already told him things. So you're going to see the mistakes because Logan's going to revert to old tricks, right? He's going to mental. It's just body. You can't change your body to do things that they've done forever. But as he progressively gets there, like Logan is supposed to be. I think we said it is a lot of us believe that Logan was going to be the face of the Angels franchise once Mike Trout is gone. It's obviously going to be Zach Neto at this point. You mentioned it, but like Logan still has that. He could be the face. There's no reason Logan can't return to being the face.
And he's kind of doing, to some degree, he's kind of doing the Joe Adell route where he goes for a month where he is on fire, hitting the cover off the ball, and then you don't see it again.
Disappears.
So, Adele last year figured it out. He still had a tough start to the season, but once May hit, Adele clicked in and he hit 36 home runs, or was it 37? 37 home runs.
It was over 35. I'll just go.
It was 37. He led the team. It was one more than you, Taylorblakeward.
Congratulations on the third child, Taylor.
Oh yes,
Joseph Taylorblakeward of the Baltimore Orioles and his lovely wife Taylorblakeward. So,
yeah, but yeah, back to O'Hoppe. I think it's in there for O'Hoppe. He's just gotta, write it out, and I think if he, with a better mentality, a little bit more relaxed, I think he's not pressing as much. I think he can figure it out.
Can you save some thought process? I'm coming back to you because you got the lineup, but I do want to hear Haslett and Murray's thoughts here. You mentioned Zach Neto. There is an extra gear. Like Jack Haslett, when we were in Irvine on Friday, right? Go see.
Mhm.
I won't say who was there, but this guy was behind us. We were talking about Zach, right? And I said, when you go into the draft, what's the one thing you do when it comes to Zach? And both of them just smiled. And I was like, you tell him to settle down. You tell him to not throw 100 miles per hour to first base. That's the one thing you tell him. Zach was so ready. And you're right. There is that extra gear. The one thing I want to see with Zach is I don't want 150 strikeouts every year. And he's sitting at like the first 2 years he was like a 23% strikeout rate. Last year was like a 26, 27. Get under a quarter. That's it. Get under 25, play your game. I think, if you can cut, I just don't want to see 150 strikeouts. That's the one thing. But outside of that, yeah, what's holding this guy back from being not a top 10 shortstop in the league? What's stopping him from being an MVP vote? In the top 10 of MVP voting. I don't think there's a whole lot stopping him from that. This is a back-to-back 5-win player, baseball reference wise. I mean, if you're a 5-WAR player, you're on the MVP ballot, in my opinion. You're special. You're an all-star. He's an all-star, Billy, or whoever the hell. But Haslett, your thoughts here? Neto, Ohapi. We kind of mentioned Nolan. We kind of skipped Nolan, but like Nolan is there. Nolan's close too.
Yeah, I think with Neto, I mean, yeah, the biggest thing I'm very high on him too. I think he could be, yeah, I think he could be a top 5 shortstop. Honestly, that's I think the not even the ceiling for him. I think his ceiling is higher, but I think that's where he can be. Yeah, I agree that him just settling down and being just a little bit more composed in himself, I think that would help with the strikeouts. I think it would help keep him healthy longer. But really, I mean, the biggest thing that I think he brings to the Angels is just like a mental side of someone who's very, very confident, very electric. I don't think the Angels have had like an electric player like that in a long time. And with how the record has gone, how the seasons have gone, where they get into those dog days of August, having someone like that who kind of has this sort of relentless confidence, I think that can set the temperature of the locker room like a lot more than anyone they've really had in the past. I think that's like a really big factor for him. I think, you know, the Angels were a very streaky team last year. I think if they reined in that and those streaks were longer and they played up to better teams and they didn't play down to worse teams, I think just the mental side that Zach Neto brings is a big part of that. And then same thing with Ohapi. I mean, yeah, he should be like, I mean, he is geared to be the franchise catcher. And
Well, and you
that's
guys
also
see it.
something that,
You
yeah,
guys see it too in the clubhouse. He's the face of the clubhouse.
absolutely.
He is the broad. He is the vocal leader in that clubhouse right now too.
Yeah. And yeah, all the tools are there. It's, I agree. Like it was also very much a mental thing for him. I think, I mean, even, but I think what's big thing is going to change is he might have a little bit more of a chip on his shoulder in that sense. I think, I don't know if maybe it was in The Athletic at the end of that last season where he was kind of responded to, whatever comments that Ray had made about him.
Mm.
And it seemed like what I gauged from that was that he was going to go into this with something to prove that he had more to do. He knows what he's capable of. And I think he can be that very solid, power catcher kind of guy. I think Stassi being around is going to be great for him defensively. That's again like they have, and even doing that I think is represents what the Angels mentality is around Ohapi. I mean, that's what bringing d'Arnaud in was, really just to be a mentor to him. Having Stassi is to be a mentor to him. They're putting a lot of
Having
investment.
Suzuki.
Having
Yeah,
Suzuki,
Kurt.
yeah, that's a great point.
Like Kurt may not have been the greatest defensive catcher, but he was a catcher for. What did we figure out?
Was it?
Yadier Molina
He's
was the only one that had more innings behind the plate than he did during his
yeah.
career.
Yeah, and wasn't Suzuki like Otani's catcher?
Yep,
He was
personal catcher.
Otani's
You're right,
catcher. He
yeah.
was a all-star in 14.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
National
No,
championship with the Cal State Fullerton Titans
World
Who?
Series champion, though.
Mhm. and
yeah,
a World Series.
World Series champion, and he was Max Scherzer's personal catcher too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm
There's
with you.
clearly,
Yeah.
yeah.
I want to go to Thomas for it too. Thomas, your thoughts here, and
Yeah.
the one thing that we haven't mentioned, Nolan Schanuel, he's just a sweet kid. You got to get that kid out of
Totally
his
is.
shell. You got to get him out of his shell. You got to say, you know what, Nolan, let's get you in a little bit of trouble here. He he's a good kid, man. He's the kind that you let your niece or daughter kind of date kind of thing because he's such a good guy. He needs to get in a little bit of trouble, and I think Zach Neto's the right guy to kind of get him in a little trouble. Thomas, we've talked
Zach
about
Neto
that.
is
You and I have talked
mischievous.
about it.
Yes, it's chaos.
Zach Neto is a character.
He's awesome.
And he's hilarious.
He's, the
He's super funny.
But thoughts on Zach, this young core, because realistically, that is your primary.
Definitely. Zach. So I'll just start off with Zach. Taylor, first time I saw Zach play in an Angels uniform, it was 2-3 years ago. Whenever he made his debut, I remember watching on TV, and the one thing that I noticed, and it's the thing that you and I always talk about when we're talking about these high school baseball players, these college baseball players, you could tell he was a little bit different. I noticed it right away. I'm like, he's aggressive as hell on the base pass and playing the position as short. He has what Jack was talking about. He has that dog mentality. Him and Christian Moore. I mean, there's two guys that bring a lot of fire. And when Moore gets back to the MLB level, like that middle infield is going to be really, really fun to watch between, watching those two. Zach, I really think high of him. I really think he could be one of the top shortstops in baseball. Not even top 10. I think he could actually be a top 5. I think he's very, very good.
Well, in respects to Jack Jane's comment, I agree. Top 10 is a big marker. I don't think you were underselling him by saying top 10. That's what I want to go to. I think we all agree.
No.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't want to undersell Jack's comments and make it seem like Jack's underselling Zach here.
No, not at all. I don't.
Yes, fire up the quote card. He sucks, Jack James.
Yeah, maybe BTH will get your quote. And
oh god,
come on, man.
I'm kidding. I actually love BTH. He's hilarious.
We all love BTH. He's a good kid, man.
Yeah.
Whatever BTH, whatever's behind that screen, BTH.
Yeah, whoever's there.
We need the reveal party, man. We need the BTH reveal party. We need a.
The one thing I just want to say with Zach, though, is I want to see him finish strong. Last year, he really started to fall apart. Started to slow down in August and September. He finished August hitting 236, and then he finished September hitting 162. So I'd like to see him just kind of finish a full season. It will be good to watch. It'll be awesome to watch him. Hopefully stay healthy. Just start, on opening day and then finish whatever the last day of the season is, September 30, 31st, whenever that is. So that's what I want to see out of Zach. I just want to see him be more consistent at the end, not kind of fade out, because it's a long grind. Baseball is a long, grueling season. Logan, I really want to see Logan take a step forward. It was weird watching him kind of take a step back last year. I felt like in 24, saw something there, and then early in the last year you saw it too, but then he started to fade out of nowhere. And I don't know if it was the mental side of things with going on at defense that was playing into his offense, and that's why the offense started to decline. Because like Jack said, Logan's total perfectionist, true professional. Just everything you want in your catcher or player, guys that are doing things the right way, going about things the right way. That's Logan to a T. So I want to see Logan just maybe loosen up a little bit more, have fun, don't be too hard on himself. Seanwell, I haven't really been able to pay attention too much because we haven't been able to watch any spring training games until this past weekend or last 3 days.
There's spring training,
but what's up?
There's spring training.
Yeah, there is apparently.
Allegedly.
Thought they were locked out or something. That's next year.
I saw plenty of spring training, guys. Saw plenty of Arizona. I watched the White Sox, the Guardians, the Padres, the Mariners.
I saw college baseball.
Sounds like either way. So
we saw college baseball, but the one thing that I remember from the winter meetings was Kurt Suzuki saying that they wanted to get Nolan's bat speed up. So as the season goes on, that's something that I'm going to be looking out for to see if that's actually improved at all, and maybe that'll result in him being able to get extra base hits going, being able to do more for the offense.
you figure when it comes to Nolan in particular, right? Jack, you mentioned it. It's elite plate discipline. It's elite bat to ball, right? So if you get the bat speed up, even a tick, you get the EV up, right? You get the EV up, you get the everything because his launch, he doesn't. It's man, I'm gonna sound like Mark Trumbo and an old man right now. When you got a guy that can hit, it doesn't matter what his launch angle is. You don't have to teach launch angle to a guy that can hit. But if you get the bat speed up, those line drives are going to start going over the fence.
Well, and also like I don't even think he has to be a 30 home run hitter to be productive. Like he can still hit 15 to 20
No.
homers and be a productive hitter if he just starts shooting the gaps, getting his doubles. If he
Yeah.
can get his extra bases
Bobby,
as doubles, I'm sure the
Yeah.
Angels will take it.
Bobby Abreu
Because right now
and
he hasn't
Robbie,
been able to get any extra base hits really.
no, Bobby Abreu always led the league in doubles, and he is a pretty darn good player. Now he played right field, but still. He also stole like 30 bases a year. That was a horrible comparison. Either way, I'm with you on it. I'm completely with you on it. Just get him to a little more authoritative at the plate.
Sure.
Piss him off. So, Jack Janes, we did cut you off at 3 players. The rest of the infield, mix and match. Not a whole lot to call home about.
Yeah, so I'll just go around the horn. So we already talked about Shannon at first base. So at second base, they haven't named a starter, but it'll be a blend of Oswald Peraza and Adam Frazier. Frazier was brought on as a non-roster invite. Oswald Peraza traded from last year's deadline. Peraza, he's proved he's got a really good glove in the infield, very defensive first infielder. The bat has not translated at all. He can't just quite frankly cannot hit at a near league average level. Adam Frazier, he's a little bit more interesting. He's still decent with the glove, not nearly as good as Peraza by the metrics, but he has a better history or a reputation at the plate. He's a contact hitter, won't strike out, doesn't really hit for any power. He has respectable averages. I think last year he hit 267, which in today's game that's pretty good.
Massive.
Yeah. So the OPS is going to be low because he doesn't hit for power and his on base isn't super high. But if he can balance out the lineup without striking out and putting the ball in play a little bit more, I think that'll be serviceable for the Angels just because they have so many guys that are strikeout heavy. So they're gonna figure out how to blend those two together, and I think Kurt Suzuki said they're gonna take in a lot of factors. It's not just gonna be a strict platoon because Oswald Peraza has reverse platoon splits, so you can't really platoon them. It might be whoever's hitting better at the moment. It might be whoever's playing defense better or matchups or whatever they feel is right. They're gonna mix and match, not gonna be a true rhyme or reason. Shortstop Neto, third base going to be Yohan Moncada coming back. When he was healthy, he was productive at the plate. I believe a 780 or 790 OPS somewhere around there.
783.
783 OPS. Drew a lot of walks, hit for power, but only played 80 games, 81 games. I think 82.
84.
84. Oh wow, I was
Yeah.
too off.
Way off.
Yeah.
Samsonite.
Yeah, so if he can stay healthy, he can be productive. Dealt with knee injuries last year. Obviously, that compromised his defense as well as his hitting because he was only able to hit left-handed last year. So he's a switch hitter. Hopefully, the knee's healthy this year and he can hit from both sides of the plate and be a little bit more consistently in the lineup. His backup option, Jeimer Candelario, another non-roster invite. Had a decent spring. Didn't have a super high average, but that's not really expected of him. Hit some home runs. Played good enough defense to earn the last bench spot, especially with Vaughn Grissom hitting the IL. So that rounds out the infield.
Yeah, you mentioned there's some flexible options. The thing that I noticed, all those guys can hit left-handed if they're healthy, right? The Angels need left-handed.
Except Peraza.
Oh, well, I wasn't counting him into the roster, honestly. But if I'm being real honest, no, I mean Adam Frazier. The thing with Adam Frazier that's important is he's there until Christian Moore comes up. He's there until Christian Moore earns the spot to be the everyday guy. Jaime Candelario gives you options. Adam Frazier gives you options at third for when Moncada's hurt, because that's an option. But realistically, the more we talk about it, the more I say this offense has some potency. There's some potency here. Jaime Candelario can put a rip into the ball. Yohan Moncada can put a rip into the ball. Adam Frazier's going to put the ball in play, right? There's some potency just in the infield in itself, you know. But like we said, this they might have a really fun offense, but they're not going to be able to score their problems, and that's where I kind of go with it. Haslett Murray, any thoughts here on the remainder of the veteranship of the infield?
Yeah, I mean, it's still, I mean, kind of like I was saying with the rotation, it's all of it is very much just a project. I'm thrilled that Christian Moore is starting in the minor leagues, that they're finally not rushing their first round pick guy. I think that's exactly what they need. Kyron Paris, obviously he's not in the same position as Moore in the sense of could be playing in the big leagues, but isn't. He still needs more time regardless. But the fact that they're being more cautious with Moore is, I think, a great sign. Same deal. I mean, Frazier is the latest chapter in the Angels saga of being the island of misfit toys where players go to revive their careers. So, if he can just, it's filling, I think it's just a lot of it is just sort of filling space at second. Same thing with Peraza. Yeah, Moncada, I mean, like Jack said, if he can be healthy and he can just be dependable, that's great. That's more than the Angels had at third base from a certain $100 million guy for a long time. So just having a healthy
Right,
body,
300, buddy.
300, yeah.
245.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say didn't have time to do the math in my head, but just having,
Total overall cost was much more than 100 million.
yeah, like, so just him being just a healthy presence at third that can be somewhat dependable, I think is great. And then, yeah, beyond that, it is just sort of biding your time until more is there. So, I mean, I think it's a good approach. Again, it's not, this season really isn't about wins for the Angels as much as it is, hoping that so many different players make that next step. But, I think it's not the worst approach they could be doing right now.
And real quick before I go to Thomas, you've said that twice now, is this season's not about wins. I think if that's your perception, you can be excited about Angels baseball.
Yeah.
If that's your perception, if you as a fan or you are checking in on this team, if that is your perception, then the Angels baseball this year is actually somewhat exciting. It's you're watching the growth again. Now, you don't want to continue saying that that's what it is, but that's not the way that's not the way baseball operates. Like, if you're the front office with the Angels, wins are the only thing that matters. Sadly, they're not going to win a lot. So, sorry, I just wanted to make that point. I thought it was an interesting point because I think we've talked about it for months now, right? Jack and Thomas, we've talked about it on every show. What is there to be excited about? Nothing, right? This team is not good. We're not. That is the point, is if that's your perception of this team, I think you have something to look forward to. So, sorry, Thomas, your thoughts here on left side infield stuff.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think the two Jacks have pretty much hit most of it. I think the most important thing for this infield is just outside of the young guys. Moncada is staying healthy. He looked pretty fine when he was playing in the WBC. He played 4 games, but I mean he looked healthy. You know what I mean? He looked a little bit better. He didn't look as kind of like the issues that were bugging him last year, the knee, all that stuff. So that's kind of the thing that I really think it will be important for them, especially because for the development of Christian Moore, I don't want to see sometime in July, August, Moncada's not ready to go, and we're actually doing the Christian Moore at third base experiment. I think you need to let the kid be at second, or like you and I have talked about Taylor, try him in the outfield, maybe left field. So if second base wouldn't work out for him, then yeah, I would say left field or something, try that. But I really don't like the idea of him at third base. Paris, I'm more open to them trying that, just because Paris is kind of turning into one of those utility guys that can play multiple spots. But Kyron Paris is not your everyday third baseman either.
You have options when it comes to that roster spot, right? Because you mentioned Oswald Peraza. We haven't mentioned Vaughn Grissom. Kyron Paris can play more positions than either of those guys. So I
Yeah.
think honestly, when Kyron comes in, those guys become expendable. I mean, I've said it very openly. I think both of those guys were expendable to start the year. You had to get rid of one of them, and one of them just happened to be injured. But like when Von Grissom is healthy, I don't see a point to having both of those guys on the roster by any means. And if Kyron Paris is going to outplay them, I don't see a reason for either of those guys to be on the roster. So, speaking of outfield, Jack Janes, Angels got a lot of what in the world when it comes to this outfield, man. Because can Josh Lowe play? How many games is Josh Lowe going to play? How many games is Mike Trout going to play? And how many games is Jorge Soler getting in the outfield? That's going to kill me.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot going on this year with the outfield, probably. The positive, Joe Adell's playing right field. That's his by far his most comfortable position. He finally established himself as a average to above average right fielder in 2024, just to get moved to center field last year because they wanted to have Mike Trout play right field and run less and hopefully stay healthy, and he still got hurt anyway. So they're gonna move Trout back to center, and honestly, at this point, they moved him off of center field, and he still got hurt. So why not just have him play where he's more comfortable, and then just see what happens as Thomas brings down his whole apartment. So yeah, Trout in center field, Jodell in right field. Jodell coming off a career year, finally clicked for him in the majors. 37 home runs, I think 110, 115 RBI, somewhere around there. Trout obviously didn't have the year that we all are used to seeing from Mike Trout. Can he, stay healthy and get back to what he was? I'm not sure. But if he can still be a productive player, that's all the Angels can ask for these days. I think what will help him out is if him and Jorge Soler, and this will also help Jorge Soler, if they just rotate in and out of that DH spot, whether you get a series rotation, few game rotation, something like that. I think to get both of them off their feet sometimes it'll be beneficial for both of them because we saw Jorge Soler play right field more often last year and couldn't stay healthy. He hasn't played the outfield more than he's DH since I think 2022 or 2021. So both of them need DH time. And then in left field, you got Josh Lowe, brought in with the trade with the Rays. Speedy, very athletic. Had a great year in 2023 and hasn't really done anything since because of various oblique injuries. So that's going to be something to keep an eye on. He re-injured his oblique this spring training already. So how many games can you count on from him? That's going to be another question. Then you got Bryce Teodosio rounding it out on the bench. I mean, and as we talked about earlier, Adam Frazier can play outfield as well. He has that ability to. I don't think he will that much, but you never know. But yeah, Bryce Teodosio on the bench, glove first, outfielder, elite glove. I think he put up like the 18th most outs above average last year, and he played 50 games. And that's like all positions, all of baseball. He's insane with the glove, but unfortunately the bat isn't there, so he will be a defensive replacement late in the game, and that is your outfield.
I can't remember which which Angels rep was telling me about it, and they said he's an 80 defender. And then I was like, there's no such thing as an 80 defender. I'm like, that's Ozzie Smith. There's no such thing as a legitimate 80 defender, Andrew Jones, right? And I'm like, that's nonsense. You're talking nonsense. And then I had like 3 other scouts from different organizations say Bryce is an 80 defender, and I'm like, what are we talking about here, man? What are we really talking about? Yeah, that is what. If you want to know what an 80 grade defender in center field is, look at Bryce Teodosio. The thing that I look at with this outfield when it comes to Bryce being there is Bryce is not going to be there for his bat, but he might be able to work in against left-handed pitchers. Josh Lowe, 772 career OPS against right-handed pitchers, 504 OPS against lefties. So you got to get him out of. That's the one thing. You're giving Josh a break every now and then when he faces lefties, and if you're not, that's not good. You need to take him out of the lineup when there's lefties, and that's what Bryce kind of gives you that benefit of. But you also need someone that can play center those days. So that's where you kind of have to. Mike has to be in center, or yeah. Sorry, I'm doing the math backwards because you need Jorge and Mike both in the lineup. So you can't throw Jorge into left field as much. And that's where you kind of have to move those needles around. The outfield, it's all dependent on health. How many games is Mike Trout going to get? How many games is Josh Lowe going to get? How many games is, I mean, I don't think, I've said it for a long time. Jorge Soler should not even own a outfield glove. He shouldn't even own one. Carry it with you on the trip. Don't plan on bringing it out of the bag. That's the way I look at Jorge Soler, and that's not a knock on him. He's a great hitter, but that's the way it should be. But I think a lot hinges on Mike Trout, and we can harp on this forever and a day. Is how many games is Mike Trout going to get? How healthy is Mike Trout going to be? It's as simple as he either is or he isn't, and he plays or he doesn't. And I know that's such a lazy thing to say, but it's really true. And I don't know. I don't know how dependent the wins are going to be if Mike Trout is healthy or isn't healthy. I don't know what the gap is going to be if you're losing Mike Trout right now. And that's where I think I kind of look at this outfield group and I say, if Mike Trout is playing center field and playing to the capabilities offensively that he can, you're going to pick up a few wins. I don't think it's going to be 10 wins the way that it used to be. And not that it was working back then when they were picking up 10 wins, but it's not to the point where this team loses Mike Trout and sees a substantial win-loss gap anymore. And that's a problem. I mean, we all absolutely love Mike. Mike's one of the best dudes on the planet. But it's not to the stage where if you lose Mike Trout for the season to a stage, that's not a white flag for the rest of the year anymore. So Haslett, Murray, anything? I know we've kind of gone circular. In my way, because Thomas always scolds me for this, it goes Janes, me, Haslett, Murray. Yeah, nothing. Whatever. Fun circle then. Haslett, what do you got, man?
Yeah, I mean, Mike, like you said, there's not really anything to control with Mike's health. I mean, the thing is because it's not even recurring injuries. It's not like it's one thing that he's constantly re-hurting over and over. It's been a different thing each of the last 3 seasons at least, if not if not longer than that. So yeah, that's just, I mean, it's a wild card factor in that sense. Obviously everyone wants to see, I mean, not even just from an Angel standpoint, but just I think for baseball, everyone wants to see Mike Trout healthy for the majority of a season. And he wasn't all the way there last season, but genuinely the last 3 games, I think I remember, like he said in an interview, I finally feel like me again. And for those last 3 games of the season, he took off. I think I want to say he had a multi-home run game in game 162, if I'm remembering that right. So it's there, it's there. If the season had gone another 10 games, I think there would have been like a little mini tear at the end of it. And, if that translates over into now, I mean, I think he's not beyond still like being the Mike Trout that he's been in the early part of his career. It's just if he can stay on the field long enough or he can stay in that groove, I think he can still be, the same contributor that he used to be.
You know what I just took out of Hazlett's whole thing right there? He said he knew something that happened in game 162. That's a guy that does the job, man. There's no way you could have paid me to watch Angels 162 last year. There's no way. They do pay me to do it, and I still don't do it. So Haslett, good on you for doing the job. But yes, it's you want Mike around. You really do want Mike around. Thomas Murray, outfield thoughts.
Yeah. Jack, I decided to look that up. It is September 26th, game 160. 160.
We were paying attention.
We
were paying attention to game 160, Jack. Yeah.
But he did have a homer in 162. He was definitely
2 of them.
paying attention.
He had 2 home runs in 162. Really?
Oh no. Sorry. I thought Thomas
160.
Well, Haslett had coverage. That's why Haslett had the final week of. That's right.
Yeah, I knew
he did homer the last game, but yeah, he had a multi-homer game the first game of that series.
Yeah,
and game 159 or no,
160.
I'm wrong.
160.
Yeah, no, game 159 he had a homer though. Yep. So last 4 games he had 4 homers.
In his last 10 games, he hit .310 with an .862 OPS.
Yeah, the tear was there. It's just if the season had kept going another week, he could have been a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the Angels outfield, it will be dependent on if Mike Trout can stay healthy. Because if he's not, you're probably going to have to move Lowe or Adele to center. And I hope it'd be Lowe over Adele. Just because I'd like to see Joe just stay in right field and get better every day there. I would like to see Joe Adell, fire right out of the gates and continue what he built off of last year and bring it into 26. I mean, if he does that, he could be a contender for a Silver Slugger.
So what are the odds here? Like we've mentioned it, the health is going to be the biggest thing, and we can't
Yeah.
bank on health. So at this point, what are the odds you see Wade Meckler, or even more substantial, you see Nelson Rada, right? Because you have a 20-year-old prospect that continues to hit and hit and hit, absolutely zero power, but he plays at a high clip in center field. So when do you give Nelson Rada the chance and continue this future build? Because we mentioned it. Revner is not going to start in Salt Lake. Moore is going to start in Salt Lake. Rada's going to start in Salt Lake. So you've got the development, Clausen, all the Gary Dana, right? All these guys are in development. At what point do you pull the trigger and say, Nelson Rada, it's time for you to prove it in the bigs? And like you said, he's only 20. He's Rule 5 eligible this year, but he's only 20.
Probably when everyone else gets hurt.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Fine.
Sometime in August, when you have, if they are who we think they are,
oh my God,
and have nothing to play for, give the kid a shot. As long as he's playing well in AAA, though.
Well, in all honesty, mentally in my head, I figured Josh Lowe was not going to start the season on opening day roster. I thought he'd start in the IL. I thought Nelson Rod was coming into camp this year with a chance to kind of pull the trigger and prove that he could be the opening day center fielder in my mind. So, all right, guys. Now that we've talked ad nauseum for an hour about this team, are we confident anymore? Are we moving our needle on the win-loss record thing here? Anything that we're kind of going on before we jump into the division winners and our season predictions and stuff? Jack James, actually, as we go on it, you can find all of this. We have the written form of this and short form at TheSportingTribune.com, which I am going to pull up right now and find out what you guys actually said was.
Yeah, I'm pulling that up too.
Total. We all had different win totals.
I know what I said.
That.
But...
I know. Yeah, I had different we all had different win totals. One of us was much more optimistic than the rest. Just saying. So,
I think I know who it is.
I mean, not by much.
No, not by much.
You guys were two
last place.
Let's go. Yeah. So, as we all noted mentally by shaking our heads and everything like that, this is a team that's going to finish 5th in the AL West, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Good. Who had the lowest mark?
Might have been me.
Jack James. Have you changed your mind that this is are they only going to win 65 games?
I have not changed my mind, no.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, you want me to get the reasoning? Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
So the biggest thing is I look at this roster and I look at last year's roster and I don't really see any real differences other than the fact that this team no longer has 36 home runs from Taylorblakeward or 20 some odd saves and a mid-2 ERA from their closer like they did with Kenley Jansen. They don't have a closer. They don't have the power in the outfield. They didn't replace any of them with anything. So in theory, you could say they are worse in that sense. You can make the argument, like you have talked about earlier in the winter, Taylor, the addition of subtraction. You lose, Tyler Anderson, and all respect to Kyle Hendricks, but he wasn't as good towards the end of his career.
I liked Kyle. I don't think
love
Kyle.
Kyle.
Kyle was not a problem.
Very nice,
Kyle
man.
pitched very well.
And also, we also pointed out, you take away one start, he had like a 4.3 ERA. So
no, Kyle pitched very well. Kyle was don't be throwing Kyle. How dare you? How dare you?
Should be a hell legend.
Kyle I mean,
Hendricks,
you're the one that started it by saying
and a
it was
scholar.
You're the one that started it by saying the addition of subtractions all the way back in November. But
Haslett, didn't Hendricks go to your high school? He's a South County guy.
He's a South County guy. He went to Capistrano High School, so that's a rival of mine.
Okay.
Okay. Mission Viejo, South County.
Should have gave him a Mission Viejo hoodie or something.
Anyway, so
sorry. Sorry.
With the
Let's
rotation,
just get this out of the way real quick. Kyle Hendricks is the best human being
yes,
on the planet, and
nicest
Yeah,
guy
he's
I've
the
ever met.
nicest
Nice
he's the
dude.
greatest dude. So
Super
not only
nice.
do we like Kyle as a guy, he pitched fine last year. So don't. How dare you, sir?
All right.
You started it
Anyway.
anyway.
Enough of the Kyle Hendricks segment.
Anyway, with the rotation, on paper you could argue it's better, but there's a whole lot of ifs and a whole lot of question marks, and some guys you're relying on health. And in the Angels' recent history, as recent as like 10, 15 years, they have not really stayed healthy that year or that well. And also, when you also compare to last year, they had a pretty healthy year last year, all things considered. Yeah, you had, Trout was on the IL for about a month, a little bit less than a month.
Fortunes.
But he still got in 130 games, I think. Yeah, got in 130 games. Moncada and Soler were hurt, but other than that, like they avoided heavy injuries. Obviously, Ben Joyce was on the shelf with a shoulder surgery, but like compared to Angels teams of recent history, that's relatively mild for them.
Well, I think they got to July with a 5-man rotation.
Yes, yeah. They
Yeah,
didn't,
it
and
was
they
like
did,
they
and
got
they
to the
didn't
All-Star
change.
break.
Oh yeah, it was the All-Star break, and they didn't change
Kavanagh went down during the All-Star break. That's the only time. Yeah.
I was just gonna say they didn't change the rotation because of an injury. They changed the rotation because they wanted to send down Jack Ohanowitz. So you can't bank on having that much health again this year. And for those reasons, I think they're going to be a little bit worse than they were last year. This is a team that was also a 99 loss team 2 years ago. I can't say that's out of the realm of possibilities again. So that's why I went with the 65 and 97 record.
Gotcha. I see no bones about that argument. That's why I'm going to go to Thomas Murray. Thomas Murray. Why are they going to win one more game than you think Jack James has them at it? Why are they going to win 66 instead of 65?
Because Zach Neto walk-off home run
There
against
you go.
the Texas Rangers
There you
sometime
go.
in July or something.
You have them as the same as Jack James.
Yeah,
here.
yeah. I mean, Jack James and I are pretty much seeing the same field here. My whole thing about the Angels, and we've said it, I feel like this whole podcast was, well, if they stay healthy in this group, and that's the biggest if for this team, and that's why I don't think they're going to be as good as they were last year. It would not surprise me, though, if they were a 100 loss team, just because there's so much health concerns. Look at what was put together, this roster, how it's constructed. You're banking on a lot of what ifs, and you just can't do that. You can't do that. If you're, I mean, sure, every now and then, every few seasons, maybe you get like a guy or two. You could be like, okay, maybe he could turn it around. But given where the Angels are at, where they've been, I just don't see an area where they improve. I think the loss of Kenley Jansen impacts them tremendously. I got a lot of slack for that in December, November when he signed with Detroit. I think this is going to be a big loss for his team. A lot of fans were in my comments complaining about that, but I'm going to stand by that. I think Kenley was a big part of this bullpen last year. I think just some of the veteran stuff that you see him do on the mound is why they would come away in some of these games and win them. I think it's a big reason why they swept the Dodgers in Dodger Stadium was because of the performance of Kenley Jansen that series. He played a big part for this team last year. Just key veteran guy that they really should have kept.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. The way I'm going to myself because I had the next best record for the Angels, promising wise. I think there's an eternal thought process. The 90 losses is a big number. That's a massive number, losing 90 games. The thing I mentioned in the article is you can't anticipate 38 losses in August and September the way that they have. You can't expect them to only have less than single-digit win total in August the way that they have the last 3 years. That said, you got to get through it. You got to get there. So I think that this pitching depth that they've created, it might get them to that point of at least being competent enough to not lose 35 plus games in August and in September. And that's where I sit with it. So all I said is they have a 1-win improvement from last year. And it's not that this roster is improved, it's just that they're able to get through it as opposed to they're able to get through one more game essentially because of the depth. That's the only thing in my mind is this Jack, you mentioned, or James, you mentioned it. This is not a better team than last year. It might be a very similar team on paper, but it's not a better team than last year. So I'm only going with 1 win above, and I think I'm being very optimistic with that as well. And I mentioned it there. So that's my only look is a 73 and 89 win team with this Angels group. Jack Haslett, oof, Mr. Optimism himself.
Has of winning the
75.
World Series.
75 wins.
75 wins.
Just take me through it.
The
Just take me
best,
through.
the best fifth place prediction out of the bunch.
It is. That is a good sentence.
Yeah. So I mean, first I want to say I think that last year's team were better than 72 wins. Obviously, that's what they ended with. There were a lot of games that they gave away that I think, part of it, a lack of experience for some of the young guys is part of it. I think, like I said earlier, they're a very streaky team last year. I think they'll be streaky again this year. If they can just extend that more often, they have the offense, I think, to be more of a factor than they've been. Again, if you see where Neto goes, if you see where if Ohapi gets it back, if Trout stays healthy, it is going to be a matter of trying to out hit everyone because they're not going to out pitch everyone, like by any means. So if they can just chain together more momentum, longer win streaks, especially early on in the year, August and September is going to be a scary situation no matter what, like really transpires. But if they can just kind of keep momentum going, if they can play just above, because they played down to so many other bad teams last season that I think they gave away wins a lot more often than they needed to. And if that's a mental switch that I think that they can make, I think they get together a few more wins. And honestly, I believe in the power of vibes. I think Kurt Suzuki is a vibes-based manager. I think the clubhouse is going to feel a lot better. I think Neto's going to be a big part of that. And I think vibes can take you a lot farther than people think. So, and I think it's going to be 75 wins.
I respect that, dude. Did not expect to hear that. I'm a fan. So, all right. So real quick, yes, no's. 5% chance this team stuns us and finishes at or above 500. 5%. I'm going 5% chance. 2% chance.
2.5. 2.5%.
So half of a 5%. I mean, like,
I'll give you your 5.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. It's like
I can say 5.
That's also a 95.
I might give you more.
Keep in mind, 95% chance it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I might give you a higher. I might give you a 10 on that.
Ooh,
why not?
Wow. No,
the guy that says 66 wins.
Honestly, man, if I'm the Angel, and we've mentioned it how many times, get the little wins out of the way. If you can find a way to improve from last year, right? Improve your win total last year by 1, by 2. Good deal. If you finish at 500 or better, call it a win, man. Call it a win.
The World Series.
That is your World Series.
Yeah.
So
they also have a tough start to the year.
Yeah.
Because they open up in Houston. Houston's not as good as they once were, but they still have always struggled against Houston. Then they go to Chicago to play the Cubs. That's going to be tough. Then they're home against the Mariners and Braves. That's going to be tough. Cincinnati, I don't know how they're going to be this year.
Okay.
But then they're going to the Yankees, at home against the Padres, at home against the
Keep
Blue
in mind,
Jays,
dude, they went
road.
like they went 7-0 at Dodger Stadium and Yankee Stadium combined last year.
Yeah.
they do play to their opponent. Haslett makes a good point. They really did play. When there was a good team, they would play well, and when it was a bad team, they played like slop.
And outside of one really stupid swing in Boston, last year, I think they would have been like, you had Fenway to it, and they were a really good team last year against the Sox, Yankees, and Dodgers. So speaking of World Series, speaking of Red Sox, Yankees, Dodgers, let's go into our predictions for the season, guys. This is gonna be how we wrap it up. So let's just go. Let's go division winners and then World Series. Let's skip the wild card. Let's skip the whole, and we'll
Oh,
go
I filled
MVP.
out the wild card.
All right, we'll do wild card. We'll do wild card, and then MVP and Cy Young. I
Oh.
didn't throw that in with you guys, so we got to do that.
Yeah, thanks for the heads up on that one.
Whatever, dude. It's super
Dude,
easy.
I didn't
Hey.
even know about wild card or any of this.
No,
right
because
now,
it wasn't on the rundown.
It wasn't on the rundown. So, because
Sweet.
Jack James came prepared, what do you got? Who are the division winners in wild card? And let's go world. Yeah, we'll save World Series. We'll do another roundtable.
Okay. American League. AL West, I got the Mariners. Central, Tigers. East, Blue Jays. And then the wild card goes all AL East. Orioles, Yankees, Red Sox. National League, I got the Dodgers in the West, Cubs in the Central, Phillies coming out of the East, although I'm not confident in it. And then the wild card goes Brewers, Braves, Mets.
Okay. I didn't do mine either, guys. I've got to. It's
your idea. You're the one that brought it up on us.
Jack Haslett, what do you got on West, Central, East?
Very
wild
similar, very similar to the other Jack. I think it's going to be Blue Jays in the AL East, Tigers in the AL Central, Mariners in the AL West. I think that's pretty much set in stone. Um, Dodgers NL East or West rather. Um, Phillies, I want to believe in the Phillies. I really do. Um, I think the Mets could be weird and take the NL East, but I think that's the most volatile of all the divisions. And then I think Cubs NL Central. I think that's pretty set in stone. And then wild card all AL East, I think makes a lot of sense. The Orioles are going to be, I think, resurgent again. It was weird that they weren't last season, honestly. And yeah, wild card. I mean, at least one. I'm going off the cuff now, but depending on, like I said, how weird the NL East ends up being, it could be Phillies, could be Mets. I think that's kind of interchangeable for me. And then yeah, Brewers and I think Padres. I think Padres wild card could be. I think that's viable.
All right, Thomas Murray, where are you going with this, man?
You guys are. I'll start in the East for the AL. Give me Toronto winning the division. Give me Detroit winning their division. And this October, we're gonna see baseball played in Sacramento. Give me the A's.
I
actually
don't hate it.
Kind
I
of
don't
believe
hate
in
it.
them.
They're gonna
believe
bang
in them, and
I don't hate it, man.
I actually really like the
They
A's
might be able to
roster.
outscore their problems.
This is good.
And
Hurts for
Seattle's history has always been choking and not living up to the hype. And we're not going to get into it, but we're already seeing some. What's the word? We're already seeing some internal frustrations from what went on in the WBC with that team. So we'll see if chemistry in Seattle isn't great. So I got the A's winning it. I got the Red Sox taking a wild card spot. I wanted to have the Orioles, but I don't think they did enough for their pitching. So I'll take the Yankees. But I think Seattle will make the playoffs. I just don't think they'll win the division. And then in the National League, I got the Dodgers winning the division. I think the Padres will make the wild card again. So we'll just get that one out of the way. Give me the Cubbies winning their division. Give me the Mets winning the NL East. I think the Phillies missed the playoffs. And I think we'll have the Brewers in there. And sneaky enough, I'm going on a limb here, but I kind of like the Pirates offseason, and I think they could sneak in. It's the year of underdogs.
Oh, October Paul Skeens.
Yeah.
So
I don't know if this counts as an underdogs, but I seriously considered Kansas City Royals over Red Sox in the wild card.
I considered it too.
I think the Red Sox just have too much pitching depth to not include them.
I really want
Yeah.
to get to my stuff on that one because this hurts.
Oh boy.
I got Seattle win in the West, I got Detroit win in the Central, and I got the Sox win in the East. Got the Sox win in the East. I got Yanks, Jays, and Royals on my wild card. Not in that order necessarily. And I've got the Dodgers in the West. I've got the Braves in the East. And my NL Central pick for NL Central, give me the Pirates. Got the Pirates, man.
Wow.
I know.
My
I had it
dog.
written down before. I had it written down before the clown up there over on my screen goes all Paul Skeens hero. And then I got the Mets, Brewers, and Padres on the wild card. So,
What's the opposite of outscoring their problems? Because that's what the Pirates have to do.
Pirates are very much going to pitch their
Containing their problems.
Does Seth Hernandez make his debut?
No, he will not. But Max Clark might though.
Yeah.
All right, guys. World Series. Who you got? Thomas Murray or no? Jack James. Jack James.
Oh God. God. I just have so much recency bias with the Blue Jays because they played inspiring baseball down the stretch and that playoff run, and they did a lot this offseason to get better. And with how open the American League was last year, it's kind of hard to really pick a team that I could say is definitively better than the Blue Jays in the American League. So I think I'm gonna go Blue Jays in the World Series against like obviously the safe choice is the Dodgers, but you know, they almost I don't know. They were also like a barely winning their division last year to get in. So it's tough to pick against the Dodgers, but I don't want to be chalk. I'll go, you know what? I'll go Braves, the resurgent Braves. They all get healthy again. Acuna has a full healthy season and goes off. What's his name? Third base. Austin Riley returns to form and goes off. Now it's going to be a tough stretch for them, or tough start for them because they're starting pitching. The whole rotation essentially is on the IL. But if they can get those guys back healthy, I could see them making some noise down the stretch and into playoffs. But I'll go Blue Jays World Series.
Yeah, Blue Jays game. Don't worry about game. I don't care. Yeah, they'll play games 4-7 somewhere in there. Jack Haslett, who you got in the World Series, man?
Yeah, I think I do. Unfortunately, I think I have to go with the safe choice in the NL. I think it has to be Dodgers, and then playing off against them, I think it's going to be the Tigers. I think Tarek Skubal is going to take all of his misplaced feelings about the World Baseball Classic. I think he's going to push that into the playoffs. I think we could see a Madison Bumgarner type run from Tarek Skubal. And beyond that, I feel good about the Tigers. I really do. I think the way that they kind of crumbled at the end of last season was really perplexing, and they should have made a lot farther of a run than they did. And I could see them be the one that topples the Empire, honestly.
Now, does Tarek Skubal finish the season with the Tigers?
See, it's a whole other conversation.
That's a whole I'll go with that one. Thomas Murray, World Series, buddy. What do you got?
Sure. Let me go have a wild card like the hockey prediction where I went Flyers. Jokingly, I'll say A's, right? No. I
This
got
is the guy that picked the Ducks to win the Pacific. He
double
picked the Ducks to win the Pacific, and they're going to make it, and the Flyers actually might make the playoffs. So
double down. Go A's Pirates World Series.
Dude,
do it,
dude,
coward, do it.
If I speak it into the universe, do you think it will exist? It'll happen.
I double dog dare you.
Also, if it's A's versus Pirates World Series, I am so strapped into that.
So ready for a strike. So ready for a strike.
Nope. You know what? Screw it. I said you're the underdog, right?
Oh,
Screw
God.
it. Give me the give me the damn A's in the World Series. We're gonna have a World Series game in Sacramento.
Nick Kurtz, World Series MVP.
Yeah. Give me the A's against the Mets.
I am so ready for a strike. So ready for the end of the year. Let's go striking. Who wins? Who wins it?
Yeah, why not the A's, right?
What a stud! Way to go!
Why
Vegas
not? Why
A's.
not?
Oh my god!
A's will sweep them.
Sweet.
Yeah, A's will sweep the billion-dollar Mets, who almost have as much in payroll as the Dodgers.
That's fine. My direction was the direction I was going is very much a similar piss off direction. I got Brewers over the Tigers. Brewers is a
Let's
wild
go.
card. Brewers is a wild
Central
card.
Classic.
Finally,
That's
that
cool.
team deserves it.
That's cool. I
Derek
would watch
Skubal is
that.
going to prove that he's the best player in baseball, not named Shohei Ohtani, in my opinion. He's going to prove that he is the best, not best pitcher, best player. He's going to pull you know what? Screw it. Let's go into our MVP and Cy Young awards. I'm just going to say it up front. Tarek Skubal, MVP and Cy Young Award winner in the American League.
Interesting.
And I'm going to go Ronald Acuna, and I'm going to go Paul Skeens in the National. I know it's super simple, but I'm going to go Tarek Skubal.
I
Doubles down.
have a double down, but in the opposite league. I have Paul
Oh.
Skeens taking home MVP and Cy Young in the
Over
National
Shohei?
League. Yeah.
Nice.
I can't go all chalk. I have to throw in a little bit of
Yeah. No,
fun.
that's, what about American
American League, Bobby Witt Jr.
Stud.
I'm just gonna keep saying Bobby Witt Jr. until he actually does it. I think I did the same thing last year.
Stud. What about Cy Young?
Oh, Cy Young, obviously Skeens and there. I mean, Scuba can very well win it 3 years in a row.
Go with Cutter Crawford, dude. That was like if Tarek gets traded or hurt.
Yeah, Ryan Johnson. Yeah. I'll go Garrett Crochet.
Good call. Good call. Haslett, what do you got, man? MVP and Cy Young.
Yeah, I mean, Skeens and Skubal are the easy Cy Youngs. I can't really kind of see a world beyond that. I feel in Juan Soto MVP season.
Ooh,
And
okay.
I debated on him too.
Yeah, that's
Feel
fun.
good about
That's a
it.
good one.
Yeah, Juan Soto, and you know, I'm feeling give me double Dominican Republic. I think Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Good call. Wow.
Yeah,
I kind of like Hazlett's season here, man. I'm having fun with Hazlett's season here.
it's all vibes all the time.
The vibe season, I love it.
Can I guess Thomas Murray's MVP and Cy Young?
Yeah, sure.
I can?
Yeah.
Okay. Aaron Savali and Nick Kurtz. Taking the Athletics to the World Series.
Hey, if the Pirates are going to the World Series, Paul Skeens is MVP.
Paul Skeens has to be Cy Young if he's taking them to the World Series.
You know what? I really do want to say Kurtz though, like real talk.
Kurtz is MVP?
I actually am buying it a little bit.
I'm not opposed.
Yeah, that's
I'm
actually
buying.
plausible.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
actually plausible.
I'm not saying that that's crazy.
What do you have, like, what, a 170 something weighted runs created plus?
He was incredible last
He
year.
was awesome.
He was incredible.
I really, because I don't see a world where Raleigh does what he did last year. And Judge, he's just always
chalk.
he's always lingering with the injury, right? And the American League, I just don't think it's as strong for MVP candidates.
I'm not outright. If
Bobby
you
Witt's
said
not a
Kurtz,
bad
I'll
choice,
back you
though.
on that.
I'm 100% down with Kurtz getting it.
Now, if you said Severino or Savali in all legitimacy, I would probably
No,
have a
not
conversation
Severino.
with you.
No, but that is I think they're a playoff team.
They're good. They're fun. I don't know if they're bad.
Um,
I don't know if the bullpen's going to get them through. That's the one thing I said on. But
Yeah,
they can hit, and I think they've got some fun pitching.
Sure, definitely. Give me Skubal taking the Cy Young, and then I think things will be great in LA, and I'll take Ohtani for his
Wow.
fourth straight MVP.
Not Connor
Yeah.
Griffin leading the Pirates to the World
No.
Series?
No, forgot Connor Griffin. Yeah, there's your answer to out hitting your. There you go.
You know, it would be the
He's
most
not even on the Major League
controversial-
roster, right?
No, he's not.
Yeah.
No, he didn't make camp. He didn't break.
You know, it'd be
He's
the most
September legend.
controversial take for this is if I said Skeens for MVP and Ohtani for Cy Young.
The most contrary.
Let's not do that. Let's.
Yeah.
That would be
Never been said
insane.
Before.
That would be.
No, but
some
give
fun
me-
voter.
Give me Shohei at MVP and
Yeah.
give me Yamamoto taking Cy Young.
Oh, it's
All
not bad. Yeah,
Dodgers.
it's not bad.
Dodgers.
Yeah,
It's
I
not
think,
bad.
I think
Too bad they're not getting
vibes
past
in
the
LA.
Pirates.
Or they're not getting past the
Yeah.
Brewers either.
Yeah.
Or the Braves or the
Hey.
or Mets. Was it Mets? Yeah. That's awesome, man.
I do think the Dodgers could win the World Series, but I wouldn't also be surprised if they were a first round exit.
So okay, so just before we wrap this up, like in reality, every year there's a surprise team that's kind of picked the head of the year. Is all four of us saying that it's going to be the A's and the Pirates? Like, I mean, in offense, I think the Pirates are going to. I'm serious. I do think they're going to win the Central. Yeah. I think they can do it. I still pick the Brewers to win the World Series as a.
I don't see it with the Pirates. I can see it with the A's more than the Pirates.
Pirates, yeah. Or A's are very interesting.
The A's really have something there.
Royals are a big surprise.
I think the Royals can do some damage and make some noise.
You know, I think
they're going to be fun.
You know, I think it's kind of fun is Miami. I think Miami could do some
pitching's pretty good.
Yeah, so
I
think
they made the Angels look dumb last year.
Like I said, man, this is going to be an amazing year of baseball straight into a lockout. Going to be so fun. Can't wait. So, again, but do we have any games? We didn't have any games planned. Do we have anything? Yeah.
No.
Opening day is in like 2 minutes. So,
yeah.
Jack Haslett, weekend plans. What do you got, dude?
Weekend plans? I mean, it's looking right now that I'll be in Sacramento for the women's Sweet 16 and then maybe Elite 8, depending on what UCLA does. But I'll be following the UCLA train, and we'll see if their quest for national tournament greatness keeps on going.
Go catch some 2026 World Series champion Sacramento A's ball games.
Good. I could see future Hall of Famer Nick Kurtz in person. That would be great.
That's so awesome. Thomas Murray, what are you doing this weekend, man?
I honestly don't know. I am not a Dodgers fan, but my girlfriend is, so there's a chance we might go Friday night to Dodger Stadium.
Have fun spending that money.
Maybe do that. Maybe catch a movie like I was talking to you about earlier today. But
yeah,
probably chill weekend, honestly.
Yeah, I don't have you guys scheduled out for anything for baseball. Jack James, anything, Jack?
Watching baseball?
Yeah.
Trying to think of anything else. That's pretty much it.
I might have a baby shower. Or something.
Watch Ducks games. Watch baseball.
Yeah. Watch paint dry. I don't know. Yeah. No.
Grass grow.
Next week is a big week for us, as
yes.
You're all aware. Like we've got, not only do we have Angels opening home opener and things, but we also have a lot of draft content coming. The National Classic from Prep Baseball and Forest Classic the week after. We're all on draft duty. Oh, here we go. We can go to our old thing. Without assuming anyone that goes ahead of anybody, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. Who do the Angels take with the 12th overall pick in the 2026 MLB draft? Jack James.
The pitcher from UC Santa Barbara.
Jackson Flora.
Yeah.
All right, Thomas Murray. Without any assumption. Nathan Aceves? You mean Nathan Aceves or Coltreba? Yeah. Thomas Murray, without any assumption of who goes ahead of who do the Angels take at number 12?
Sheesh, I don't know.
You did not prep for this.
No, I did not. I
prep for
this. The crazy part is, part of me wants to say, we can't say where scouts were, but part of me was thinking could be like maybe Jackson from Bosco, but at the same time I'm like, probably not. Honestly,
James Clark,
maybe. Clark. Sorry, my bad.
Jaden Jackson, he's there.
Wrong kid. Honestly, maybe one of the USC guys, one of the pitchers there.
Okay. Jack Haslett, who are they taking at number 12?
Yeah. James Clark's kind of opened my eyes. That's actually, I wouldn't hate that. Not that
you guys all like James Clark.
I do like James. James is a good swing, dude.
I like James Clark a ton.
I like James Clark
I like him a lot.
Yeah.
All right, fine.
I'm kind of happy with that, honestly.
Fine, whatever.
All right, James Clark it is.
Yeah, I'm going to go the opposite way completely. I'm going to go Rocco Maniscalco. There you go. You guys can look him up. It's going to look great on models, just like Jared Grinlinger. Actually, Grinlinger just took the mound. We got Dylan DiUlio there today. So, draft coverage, Angels coverage. This is who's doing it right here. These four faces. So, hope you enjoyed this episode of Wings on Katella. We didn't talk about number 33. Who's your favorite 33 in Angels?
Oh,
At the time, I really like CJ Wilson. He's kind of a I liked CJ then. I don't like CJ now. But yeah, CJ's an idiot.
He's a race car driver now, right?
No, he owns a race team. He's also a very loud political opinion figure, which I'm not a politically minded human being under any circumstance. So
I'll go Jim Johnson.
nice.
Once had 50 saves with the Orioles.
Do you know the importance of Jim Johnson? The massive importance of Jim Johnson
To the Angels or just in general?
There is no Shohei Ohtani to the Angels without Jim Johnson.
Why?
Look up the trade. That's where the international money came
trade.
from.
Oh,
That's where the international money came from. It was Jim Johnson and oh gosh, the kid. Oh, lefty outfield, left-handed hitting outfielder. I think he made it to the upper minors. He was a third rounder. Jacob Pearson.
Nope.
Jacob Pearson. Yup.
Nope.
Big fan. No, was it Jacob Pearson?
Nope. Justin Kelly.
No, Justin Kelly was UC Santa Barbara.
Traded by the Atlanta Braves with international bonus pool slot money to the Los Angeles Angels for Justin Kelly.
No.
That's on Baseball Reference transaction page.
That's not the reason. That is not the reason. They got the oh man, I'm going into this one big time. Angels third round history. I'm telling you,
what?
Jacob Pearson, man. Jim Johnson, Jacob Pearson. The two reasons Shohei Ohtani was an Angel. Jacob Pearson.
Wait, I'm confused. I'm confused. Are you saying the Angels drafted Jacob Pearson, or are they saying the Angels traded like he was part of the trade with Jim Johnson?
They drafted Jacob Pearson in the third round in 2017, and they traded him that winter for international funds and Jim Johnson because they took on the contract.
Oh, might have been a separate trade then because it's not showing up on the transaction page.
Yep. That was the trade. So they got Jim Johnson because he was making an insane amount of money, but they had to take on that contract, and that also gave them an international. And that's how they got Shohei Ohtani. So good call on the Jim Johnson number 33. Great call.
Thanks for the story time.
Yep. Haslett, Murray, what do you got? 33s.
I mean, my real answer is Stassi. I think I'm very partial to catchers. I liked Stassi for what he did for the Angels. Chris Taylor, I wish it ended up better than it did, my man. But I really do like Chris Taylor. But I think my real answer is Stassi.
It's another one of those Kyle Hendricks amazing people kind of groups. Yeah. Noah saying DiSarcina? Tommy, were you going DiSarcina?
No, I was going the same direction as you.
CJ?
I was going CJ Wilson because it was, for me as a kid growing up listening to punk rock music and seeing CJ Wilson's love for that, professional athlete that listened to that kind of stuff. It was a pretty cool moment, pretty cool thing for me. Also really appreciated the 3 X's on his gloves to show that he was straight edge. So
straight edge.
I always thought that was cool.
On that note, let's close it out. Let's get out of here. That is Jack Janes. You can follow him on socials at JackJanes_. That is Thomas Murray. You can follow him at Thomas_L_Murray. And Jack Haslett. I don't have yours off the top of my head. Let me see. It's Jack Haslett_13. You can follow him there. You can follow me at Taylorblakeward. I don't have paper. There we go. All right, let's get out of here. Goodbye. Have a great weekend. Bye. Enjoy the season.